When Noah and Lot warned their respective people of God's coming judgment and destruction, the people would not listen. Instead, they treated Noah and Lot as extremists. Then the destruction that did come found the people unprepared. Thus it will be when Jesus Christ returns. As in the days of Noah and Lot, the soon return of our Lord Jesus will be a snare unto the people who do not heed the warning and surrender their lives to Him who knows all. Luke chapter 17, verse 26 to 30. Now, if you take into consideration all of the signs, there is no mistaking that our generation is living in the last days, nearing the second coming of Jesus. The world is now preaching the end of humanity soon. Listen to this mainstream media news report. High likelihood of human civilization coming to an end by 2050. Report finds human civilization as we know it may have already entered its last decades. A worrying new report from Sky News examining the likely future of our planet's habitability warns increasingly disastrous impacts of the climate crisis, coupled with the inaction to tackle it, are sending our planet down a bleak path towards an increasingly chaotic world, which could overwhelm societies around the globe. Yeah, that's a pretty crazy report. When the world starts preaching that the end of humanity is near, it shows we must be very near the end. There has never been a time like this before where fear and uncertainty of the future ruled the day. Yeah, there's been fear and uncertainty about the future during times like the world wars, but never have we heard such words like end of humanity being proclaimed by the world. Now the devil knows that Jesus Christ is coming back soon to put an end to this wicked world. Satan knows that the judgments and plagues of God are soon to fall, so he's deceiving the world with this climate change agenda, but this just shows how close we are to the return of Christ, guys. Daniel 11 and the King of the North. Daniel chapter 11 verse 45. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountain, yet he shall come to his end and none shall help him. Now the very next verse in Daniel chapter 12:1 says, And at that time shall Michael stand up, indicating the close of probation and final time of trouble before Jesus returns. At what time? At the time that he, in Daniel 11:45, plants the tabernacles of his palace in between the seas in the glorious holy mountain, which is Jerusalem in Israel. The he in this Bible verse is the King of the North. And I believe the King of the North is Turkey and Islam. And what does Daniel 11:45 say Turkey and Islam are going to do? Plant the tabernacles of his palace in Jerusalem. In other words, Turkey and Islam are going to move into Jerusalem to try to take control. Now, do we see anything like this happening today? Increase of knowledge. I love this sign because it clearly points to our day and cannot be refuted by basically anybody. Now, throughout history, we've had a slow and little increase in knowledge. But take a look at the explosion of knowledge over the past 100 and so years. Up until recently in history, the fastest form of transport was a horse. Now man can travel at hundreds of miles per hour and cross the globe in a day. Technology has developed at an extremely rapid pace, which has led to great improvements in computer power, scientific discoveries, and the medical profession. Just look at how much we've learned from the human body with things like DNA and cellular structures, etc. And how about running to and fro? This is specifically pointing to our day with planes, trains, automobiles, and the busyness of modern day life. We are definitely running to and fro and have knowledge like no time before us. Now, running to and fro has a dual meaning. This Bible sign has a dual application. Running to and fro and knowledge increases also applies to the knowledge of biblical truths. During the Dark Ages, for over 1,000 years, knowledge of biblical truths were suppressed by the Roman Catholic Church. But since the Protestant Reformation and breakaway from Rome, God's people have been running to and fro in His Word freely, and knowledge about great Bible truths have been revealed. Ability to enforce the mark. Revelation 13:17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now, what needs to happen in order for the beast system to stop people from buying and selling if they refuse the mark? We need to have a worldwide financial system whereby everything bought and sold is through electronic means and not cash. Now, has there ever been any time in history where this could happen? No. Are we living in a day where this could happen? 100% yes. The powers of this world are now trying to make cash obsolete and are actively pushing pure electronic forms of payment like PayPal, Google Wallet, Apple Pay. Violence and sexual immorality. In Matthew 24:37, we read, "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." And Luke 17:28-30 says, "Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed." What was it like in Noah and Lot's day? We need to go to the other Bible verses to see what it was like. Now, Genesis 6:13 tells us that in Noah's day the earth was filled with violence. And in Jude chapter 1 verse 7 it says that in Lot's day, Sodom and Gomorrah had given itself over to the fornication and strange flesh. So violence prevailed in Noah's day, and sexual immorality, including homosexuality, prevailed in Lot's day. And this would be a sign of the end times before Jesus Christ returns. In 2016, the murder rate in 29 of the largest cities in America jumped significantly. In 2017, there was 1,516 mass shootings in 1,735 days. And murder levels in Mexico hit record high in 2019. Now, does violence and sexual immorality, including homosexuality, prevail in a world today? I don't think I need to answer that for you. Not only does violence and fornication rage across the whole world, homosexuality has become the norm. Since 2001, 29 countries have legalized homosexual marriage. And there are more countries being added to this list all the time. And in 2015, the U.S. Supreme Court declared gay marriage legal in all 50 states in a historic decision. In 2012, we've seen a huge spike in sexually transmitted diseases in England. And as of 2019, there are 1 million sexually transmitted diseases diagnosed every day around the world. Today, the world is full of violence and sexual immorality. You only need to turn on the TV and you'll see violence, fornication, and homosexuality everywhere. The cities of the world today are especially bad and are no longer safe places to live. Rise in spiritualism. In 1 Timothy 4:1 we read, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in the later times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils." How about a rise in spiritualism and the occult in the world? Have we seen this? All we have to do is just look at the television and the movies today. Twilight, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and a whole host of other television series and movies containing the occult and spiritualism. It has invaded our lives like no other time before us. Mass animal deaths. In Hosea chapter 4 verse 3 we read, "Therefore shall the land mourn, and every one on that dwelleth therein shall languish, with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of the heaven, yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away." Now, during the last few years, we have seen fish, birds, and other animals die in huge numbers. Since 2010, millions of fish have been turning up dead in lakes, rivers, and the sea, with this deadly red tide partially to blame. Also, birds have been dropping out of the sky in huge numbers. And we are seeing other unusual animal deaths all around the world, including bees and bats dying in their millions. Natural disasters. Luke chapter 21 verse 25-26 says, "Upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity and the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken." Just look at all the natural disasters we're getting now every year. Are the seas and waves roaring? Yes. Tens and even hundreds of thousands of people are being wiped out from tsunamis and floods, and men's hearts are certainly fearing what is happening to this world. In America in 2010, a record was set for the number of federal disaster declarations given over a year. In 2011, that number was broken again, and 2012 produced another year of record-breaking disasters. Prominent theologian Dr. Robert Hartwig states, "The number of U.S. disaster declarations has been trending sharply upward practically over the past 15 years. We are really seeing things happening in this world now with regards to the fulfillment of Bible prophecy today," unquote. According to The Economist, in an article written in 2017, weather-related disasters are increasing. And according to a Sky News article published in May 2019, US is like a war zone after 500 tornadoes in 30 days, shattering a 40-year record. Earthquakes. Matthew 24:7, and earthquakes in diverse places. Now, the scoffers love to bash this one, but from the evidence available, it is clear that earthquakes are not only increasing in frequency, but also appearing in more and more diverse places, which the Bible predicted. New Zealand felt a record 32,000 earthquakes in 2016, and we had a millennial's worth of earthquakes in just 2 years during 2014 and 2015. Current graphs clearly show an alarming worldwide trend of increasing earthquake strength and frequency. These results are in agreement with the USGS statistics page, which shows an increase in the frequency of stronger earthquakes magnitude 5.0 and above. A series of massive quakes within 2 days in 2012 prompted an earthquake expert to suggest that the Earth is, quote, cracking up. Now, as of January 2020, there are around 5,139 earthquakes happening a month. God is giving us plenty of warning through these events, and we will be without excuse if that day of Christ's return comes upon us like a thief in the night and catches us unaware. World pushing for peace. In 1 Thessalonians 5:3 we read, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." There is an ecumenical movement today which we were told about in end times prophecy that is uniting the world in an effort to bring peace. Churches, faiths, and political leaders are uniting like never before in an effort to bring peace to this world. But this ecumenical movement is not of God, because we as God's people are not to unite with the world of any false religions. When they do declare peace and safety, then destruction will come upon them. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. Famine. Matthew 24:7, and there shall be famine. Just look at all the famine that has struck the world over the past 30 years. Thousands die every day of starvation, and according to Signs End Times news article, global starvation is spreading and increasing, causing 1 billion people to go hungry around the world. Add to that the failed crops throughout the world because of extreme weather, and bees dying off in massive numbers, and we have a worldwide food shortage on its way. The sad thing about this sign is that the amount of food that is wasted in the developed world could feed the hungry. So next time you go grocery shopping, try not to get food that will be wasted. The Bible teaches us that we need to be helping the poor and needy by giving them our bread and clothing, rather than throwing away what we don't want or need. Christians being killed. In Matthew 24 verses 9 to 10 we read, "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another." Now, Christians were being killed for their faith in the 1st century, as well as the Dark Ages when the Roman Catholic Church ruled the world and killed many of God's people. But this is being repeated today in places like the Middle East, China, North Korea, Pakistan, India, Nigeria, Egypt, where many Christians are being killed for their faith in Christ Jesus every day. And once the mark of the beast is enforced, then this persecution will spread to the Western world. Increase in sin. Matthew 24:12 says, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." Idolatry, adultery, violence, lust, greed, disrespect, homosexuality, theft, lying, aggression, and selfishness. Is this biblical sign fulfilled in our day? Absolutely. Just go back 50 years and you would not see half the sin and wickedness that we see in people today. Just look at what's portrayed on our TV screens and in the movies and our video games. Violence, lust, and all manner of evil. This is one of the major end-time signs. Our world today is aching under the burden of sin. God destroys those who destroy earth. In Revelation 11:18 we read, "And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth." Are the nations angry today? Big time. We have uprisings, conflicts, and wars all over the earth. And what about man destroying the earth? Well, all throughout history, the most dangerous weapon that man has had really has been a bow and arrow. Man couldn't really do much damage to the earth. But now just look at what man can do and is doing to the earth through industry, destructive weapons of war, chemicals, oil exploration, depletion of the forests, and so on. Just look at the massive oil spills that have happened during the past 30 years around the world. The rivers and seas are becoming completely polluted, and man is certainly destroying the earth like no other time in history. Okay guys, thanks for watching Signs and Wonders. If you are new here, please subscribe, and stay safe guys. God bless you all and your families.